Hey there, folks. Tonight, we're diving headfirst into the world of high finance. Buckle up, because things are about to get real. We're talking about BlackRock, the biggest asset manager on the planet. You might not have heard of them, but trust me, they've heard of you. And your retirement savings? BlackRock manages a mind-boggling $10 trillion in assets. That's more money than the entire GDP of most countries. They're like the smog of Wall Street, sitting on a mountain of cash, except instead of gold, it's your future. And they're using their immense wealth and influence to shape the world in their image. Now, you might be thinking, John, what does this have to do with me? Well, my friend, everything. BlackRock's tentacles reach into every corner of the global economy. They own pieces of everything from Apple to ExxonMobil, and their investment decisions have a ripple effect that impacts us all. But here's the kicker. BlackRock is now setting its sights on your retirement. They're buying up companies that manage 401(k)s and pensions. They're lobbying governments to change retirement policies, and they're pushing for investment strategies that could make them even richer, while potentially leaving ordinary people out in the cold. Imagine a world where your retirement is controlled by a single entity. Scary, right? This isn't just about numbers on a screen. It's about real lives and futures. BlackRock's influence extends beyond just finance. They have a say in environmental policies, social issues, and even corporate governance. So the next time you think about your retirement, remember, it's not just your money at stake, it's your future. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and always know where your money is going. Because in the world of high finance, knowledge is power. And with great power comes great responsibility. Now, I know what you're thinking. John, this all sounds a bit conspiracy theory-ish, doesn't it? But bear with me for a moment. Well, hold on to your tinfoil hats, folks, because it gets even wilder. The story I'm about to tell you is not just about theories. It's about real-world consequences. Let's talk about Germany. Remember how Germany went all in on green energy? They were hailed as pioneers, leading the charge towards a sustainable future. They shut down nuclear power plants, poured billions into solar and wind power, and patted themselves on the back for being environmentally responsible. It seemed like a bold and commendable move at the time. Well, it turns out that relying on sunshine and breezes to power an industrial powerhouse isn't exactly a recipe for success. The reality was far more complicated than the idealistic vision. Germany's energy policy has been an unmitigated disaster. The ambitious plans didn't quite pan out as expected. Energy prices have skyrocketed, businesses are struggling to stay afloat, and the country is now more reliant on Russian gas than ever before. Oops, the dream of energy independence turned into a nightmare. Now, what does this have to do with BlackRock? You might be wondering how this ties into the larger picture. Well, BlackRock was a major investor in Germany's renewable energy sector. They saw an opportunity and seized it. They made a fortune off of Germany's green energy gamble, even as it pushed the country to the brink of economic collapse. Their financial success came at a high cost for Germany, and now they're using their influence to push similar policies around the world. The question is, will other countries learn from Germany's mistakes, or are we doomed to repeat them? Every year, BlackRock's CEO Larry Fink writes a letter to investors. It's basically the Wall Street equivalent of the Pope's Christmas address. Investors hang on his every word, desperate for clues about where the market is headed. And this year, Larry had a lot to say about retirement. In his letter, Larry argued that governments need to raise the retirement age. Why? Because people are living longer, and there aren't enough young workers to support them. He also suggested that countries should open their borders to more immigrants. Again, the reason? Not enough young workers to pay for all those old people. Now, on the surface, Larry's ideas might sound reasonable. After all, we do have an aging population, but let's be honest, folks, this isn't about what's best for society. It's about what's best for BlackRock. See, BlackRock knows that raising the retirement age means people will have to work longer, which means they'll have more money to invest. And who do you think manages all those investments? That's right, BlackRock. And as for immigration, well, more immigrants mean more workers, which means more economic growth, which means more profits for BlackRock. It's a win-win, for them, that is. But what about the rest of us? What about the people who are already struggling to make ends meet? What about the people who can't afford to retire even if they wanted to? Well, Larry doesn't seem too concerned about them. In his letter, He basically said that it's up to individuals to take responsibility for their own retirement. Section 5. The Great Wealth Transfer Trickle-Down Economics, or Tsunami of Inequality. This is a question that has been debated for years, and it's more relevant now than ever. Now, I'm not an economist, folks, but this sounds an awful lot like trickle-down economics to me. The theory suggests that benefits for the wealthy will eventually make their way down to everyone else. The idea is that if we make the rich even richer, some of that wealth will eventually trickle down to the rest of us. It's a comforting thought, but is it realistic? But we've been trying that for decades, and it hasn't worked yet. The gap between the rich and the poor continues to widen, leaving many of us wondering if this approach is fundamentally flawed. The truth is, BlackRock's plans for retirement are just the tip of the iceberg. There's a much larger issue at play here. They're part of a much larger trend of wealth and power becoming increasingly concentrated in the hands of a select few. This isn't just about money, it's about influence and control. And if we're not careful, this trend could have disastrous consequences for our democracy and our society. The stakes are incredibly high. So what can we do about it? It's a daunting question, but there are steps we can take. Well, for starters, we need to start paying attention. Awareness is the first step toward change. We need to educate ourselves about the issues. Knowledge is power, and understanding the problem is crucial to finding a solution. And we need to hold our elected officials accountable for making decisions that benefit the many, not just the few. Our voices matter, and we must use them to demand a fairer system for everyone. Section 6. India, the jewel in BlackRock's crown. But BlackRock's ambitions don't stop at reshaping retirement in the West. Oh no, they've got their sights set on a much bigger prize, India. With its massive population and rapidly growing economy, India represents a goldmine for asset managers like BlackRock. And they're not wasting any time. BlackRock has been pouring billions into India, investing in everything from infrastructure to technology. They're betting big on India's future, and they're using their influence to shape that future in their image. Now, on the surface, there's nothing inherently wrong with investing in India. But here's the catch. BlackRock isn't just investing in India, they're trying to fundamentally reshape the country's economy. Section 7. Public-private partnerships. A match made in heaven or a Faustian bargain? How are they doing this, you ask? Through the magic of public-private partnerships, or PPPs. These partnerships allow private companies like BlackRock to invest in public infrastructure projects like roads, bridges, and power plants. Sounds great, right? Well, not so fast. While PPPs can be beneficial in some cases, they can also be incredibly risky, especially when you have a company like BlackRock calling the shots. See, BlackRock isn't in the business of doing what's best for India, they're in the business of making money. And if that means cutting corners, exploiting workers, or putting profits ahead of people, well, that's just the cost of doing business. Section 8. Guy Turner's warning, a canary in the coal mine. Now I know what you're thinking. John, this is all very alarming, but surely someone is sounding the alarm, right? Well, you're in luck. Enter Guy Turner, a former senior executive at BlackRock. Turner, who spent years working within the belly of the beast, has become increasingly vocal about his concerns over BlackRock's growing power and influence. He argues that the company has become too big to fail, and that its investment strategies pose a significant risk to the global economy. Turner warns that BlackRock's relentless pursuit of profit is leading to a dangerous concentration of wealth and power, which could have devastating consequences for democracy and social stability. He's basically the financial world's equivalent of a canary in a coal mine, warning us of the impending danger. Section 9. The Power of One. Can BlackRock shape our future? So what does it all mean? Is BlackRock some evil empire hell-bent on world domination? Or are they just a savvy investment firm trying to make a buck? The truth, as always, is probably somewhere in between. But here's the thing. BlackRock's size and influence give them an unprecedented ability to shape the world around them. And whether we like it or not, their decisions are going to have a profound impact on our lives. The question is, are we going to let them do it without a fight? Are we going to sit back and watch as they rewrite the rules of the game in their favor? Or are we going to stand up and demand a fairer system, one that works for everyone, not just the wealthy few? Section 10. The time to act is now. Your retirement, your choice. The choice is ours, folks. We can either be passive observers in our own lives, or we can be active participants in shaping our future. We can either let BlackRock dictate the terms of our retirement, or we can demand a system that provides security and dignity for all. It's time to wake up and realize that the future is not something that just happens to us. It's something we create. And the sooner we start creating the future we want, the better. Section 11. Join the conversation. What's your take on BlackRock's grand plan? So, what do you think? Are you concerned about BlackRock's growing power and influence? Do you think their plans for retirement are good for society? Let us know in the comments below. And that's our show for tonight, folks. Thanks for watching.